It basically started, I think, 2.5 years ago when I started working on wine-related projects together with my colleague who's not here at the moment. But we went to Moldova, and actually the first time that I actually was in Chisinau, we went to have a coffee, and suddenly Eugene Boyko stepped outside of Tucanos, and he recognized my friend because he was there before. And then he said hello to me, and he said like, hey, that's funny, you have a certain resemblance with Brad Pitt. Do you hear that more often? So I have heard it more often, but it had been a while, and just a bit of chit chat, and then he left, and a week later he called me up actually to say that he had a plan in his head. Yeah, that's how it basically started. And afterwards, I went back and forth to Chisinau. I think I visited Chisinau for about 5 times. Never really got out of the city, but after a year of waiting, basically, Eugene finally called me up again and said, like, we've got the money, we can do it. So, yeah, that's when it all started happening. Well, the film, I love the filming. The whole team was really professional and nice. I couldn't understand anything they were saying amongst each other. It was for me a totally new experience because I'm not an actor. I don't act or anything. I'm a graphic designer by trade. So this is a totally new experience for me. And it was really, it was kind of special to actually get out of Chisinau and go to Orhai and see the valley and stuff like that. That was really cool, and the team was great, and I had great fun, and it was a lot of waiting, obviously, but everybody took great care of me in it, and I just had a lovely time. Oh, I sort of smiled, but it doesn't in Holland here. It doesn't happen that much. As far as I have an experience, I would say yes. The funny part, a funny story. On the last day of filming, there was this lady in the valley with a horse and carriage, and at some point she moved me from the trucks to another set that was being set up a kilometer away or something. So she took us, and at some point when we were finished, she said, like, listen, if you guys just have wrapped up all the materials and stuff, come on over to our house so we can have some wine and celebrate that you finished the project, which is what we did. So we came over to this house, and by then it was all dark and cold. And we sat in this courtyard where she lived with her husband and her parents and all these little kids and chickens and dogs and cats running around. And there was this big pot of I don't know, pig's meat on the fire, and they started pouring us food and pouring us wine, and at some point we were not almost not able to leave because they kept pouring wine. So as far as hospitality goes, that's quite hospitable, but we had to flee away basically because otherwise we would have still be there.
Almost like in the video. Yeah.
Almost like in the video. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would not say that there is in the sense of the landscape itself, it's not overly dramatic. So you would have to rely on things like the monasteries that there are, and there's the history telling that you could, the history that goes on in the country and the heritage of the country, and maybe the spooky stories about Transnistria and all that sort of stuff that could be interesting. So what I like most about Chisinau in this sense is that it is a city that it needs work. There's beauty and there's sadness, and it's a melancholic feel that you get from it. I haven't seen enough. I would definitely want to go back, and I might actually when my kids are older, we as a family might actually go to Moldova or Romania. We have a certain longing now for Eastern Europe. Oh, lots of really good feedback. Friends of mine here, who knew that I've been acting in this movie, they waited and waited, and they were getting a little bit impatient. And once they saw it, they were really like, yeah, but it's just like what you are. Normally, you don't even have to act, and they think it's really, cleverly made. They also think that the way the whole campaign actually was. introduced and injected into the media, really leaning heavily on the Brad Pitt mystery, that was a clever move actually. So yeah, that's a job well done, I would say. Hats off to the guys in Moldova. Yeah.